birth of Musa. In Egypt, Pharaoh decreed that all Hebrew boys must be cast into the Nile to eliminate any threat to his power. A desperate Hebrew mother placed her newborn son in a basket and set it adrift on the river. Pharaoh's daughter discovered the baby and took him as her own, naming him Musa. Unbeknownst to her, this child would one day challenge her father's reign and lead his people to liberation. Musa was raised in the royal palace, surrounded by luxury, yet a part of him yearned to understand his true heritage. He grew up unaware of the destiny that awaited him, immersed in the comforts of Egyptian life. Musa grows up in the palace. Educated in Egyptian wisdom and culture, Musa thrived in the palace. But as he witnessed the suffering of the Hebrew slaves, his heart grew heavy with sorrow. He sensed he was meant for a greater purpose. 4. Musa kills the Egyptian one day. Musa witnessed an Egyptian overseer brutally beating a Hebrew slave. Consumed by rage, he intervened and killed the overseer. Fearing the repercussions, Musa fled Egypt, leaving behind his palace life. Musa journeyed to Midian, where he helped Jethro's daughters water their sheep. Grateful, Jethro welcomed him. Musa spent years as a shepherd, content in his new life, yet something deep inside called him to fulfill a greater destiny. The burning bush. While tending his sheep on a mountainside, Musa encountered a bush that burned but was not consumed. From within the flames, God spoke to him, commanding Musa to return to Egypt to free the Hebrews. Though hesitant, God reassured him of his presence. God instructed Musa to confront Pharaoh and demand the release of his people. Filled with apprehension, Musa set out for Egypt with his brother Aaron, aware of the formidable challenges ahead. Musa and Aaron stood before Pharaoh, declaring, "Let my people go." However, Pharaoh's pride led him to refuse. Despite Musa's warnings of dire consequences, Pharaoh's heart remained hardened, and he dismissed their plea. The plagues begin. In response to Pharaoh's stubbornness, God unleashed a series of plagues upon Egypt. Rivers turned to blood, and frogs invaded the land, yet Pharaoh's heart remained unyielding. The plagues continued. Further plagues followed. Hail, locusts, and days of darkness ravaged the Egyptians. Despite their suffering, Pharaoh remained defiant, ignoring the signs of God's power, urging him to release the Hebrews. The final plague struck, the death of every firstborn son in Egypt, including Pharaoh's own child. Overwhelmed by grief, Pharaoh finally relented, allowing the Hebrews to leave, but it was too late, as they were prepared for their exodus. The Exodus Musa led the Hebrews out of Egypt, leaving their life of slavery behind. As they journeyed through the desert toward the Promised Land, their faith was tested by hunger and thirst, but Musa remained steadfast, trusting in God's plan. The parting of the Red Sea. When they reached the Red Sea, the Egyptians pursued them. Musa raised his staff and the waters parted, allowing the Hebrews to cross on dry land. As Pharaoh's army followed, the waters returned, drowning them and granting the Hebrews their freedom. The manna and quail. In the desert, the people grew hungry and complained. God provided manna from the sky and quail to feed them. Despite these miracles, the people's faith wavered, and their grumbling persisted. The water from the rock. When thirst struck the camp, God commanded Musa to strike a rock with his staff, producing water. Yet the people continued to grumble, forgetting the miracles they had witnessed. The golden calf. While Musa received God's commandments on Mount Sinai, the people grew restless and fashioned a golden calf to worship. Upon his return, Musa, filled with anger, destroyed the idol and reminded the people of their true faith. Musa ascended Mount Sinai again, where God bestowed upon him the 10 Commandments on 2 stone tablets. These laws would guide the Hebrews for generations, teaching them how to live harmoniously with God and one another. The rebellion of Korah. Korah challenged Musa's authority, igniting rebellion among some Israelites. To demonstrate his power, God caused the earth to swallow Korah and his followers, affirming Musa's leadership. Due to their disobedience, the Hebrews were condemned to wander the desert for 40 years. Musa guided them with wisdom, facing numerous challenges while remaining faithful to God's plan. As his time drew near, Musa climbed Mount Nebo for the last time. There, God granted him a vision of the Promised Land before calling him to his side. Musa passed away peacefully, knowing he had fulfilled his mission to lead his people to freedom.